Thank you, Sibling Couple Show. Because we hope to having a wonderful day on this 15th July 2025. Today, we are, of course, filming the sunset. It is late, it is warm as fuck. There's gonna be a couple of videos, so I think should be fine. Let's have some fun. But most of all, this is, you know, it's insane. This is a spider, and its web is on the phone. It's kind of nuts. I don't know if you see it. You see it, right? I don't even show my man. Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to our show. Doing walks are having a very nice day on this 15th July 2025. Today we are doing a taste test. I am super happy because it's been a while since we did a taste test. We are tasting limited edition Couche-Tard exclusive Mountain Dew Baja Laguna Lemonade. So in Couche-Tard, which is a store, which is a convenience store, a gas station sometimes, they had this exclusive, and it's the Mountain Dew. And this is the summer. We did a promotion where they were like, "Yo, we're gonna have this. It's gonna be limited edition. It's gonna be very. You can buy 3 for $4.50. So that's a cheap. So 3 for $4.50, which is $1.50. We're doing each limited edition, once again, exclusive product. So this is possibly one of the rarest things I've had. I think I'm gonna keep the bottle. I'm gonna keep the bottle just in case. Anyway, without further ado, let's try it out. Zdrowie. I'm not smelling a lot, to be honest. It smells sweet, but without more. There's almost a small mango taste to it, and almost a small mango smell to it. Now, Baja Blast is super popular when you go to Taco Bell, but I don't have a Taco Bell near me, so I don't go to Taco Bell. Of course, this is straight from their fridge. We went there about 20 minutes ago. Funny story is, we're gonna keep it for later. It's good, to be honest, and I'm not sure. Oh, it's mango lemonade. Mango lemonade, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan. To me, it's good, but it's not great. There's so much going on. There's the Mountain Dew blend, which is delicious. There's like a deep mango flavor, and then there's a citrusy to it. But the citrusy in itself isn't, it's weird because you can easily identify citrusy. A lemon will taste very different than a grapefruit. And both of these will taste very different than a lime, right? So you're trying to understand which one it is, and you don't taste the specific citrus. Instead, it's citrusy, but you don't know how, or you don't know why. So it feels like it's a, it's a emulated sense of bitterness. No, bitterness, sourness. The whole thing actually goes down well. The whole thing actually goes down really well. It isn't super flavorful. It's not something that I am falling in love with, but it's actually pretty good. As a normal drink, like for example, and I know I get some hate for this, but you go to the fast food, right? And there's a Sprite, a Coca-Cola. You got fountain drinks. And this, if it was a fountain drink, would be super good. However, I think my original impression is as something that I was kind of limited edition. I was like, it's exclusive. I kind of hyped it up. It's not bad. It's not great. And it's my first Mountain Dew Baja Blast, and I'm tasting it with you guys. So on that note, love guys, peace. I'm the queen of broken heart. Very cute. Okay. Don't blink as you blink. Welcome for pleasure. Sitting off to having a wonderful day. It's 15 July 2025. It is actually super hot outside. So what we did was we went to the store to get some special edition, limited edition, exclusive drink, and I just had to buy ice cream because it's so warm. But there's a couple of funny stories with that. So we go to the store and we buy a ice cream, and there's a girl behind me, and she's also buying ice cream because again the store does it special because it's warm. So it's like ice cream product like beverage are gonna be cheaper, right? Yeah, they're gonna be cheaper. So then what had ended up happening is she left her ice cream on the counter, and I left my ice cream in the bag. So then I took hers, thinking it was mine, and it was like, oh, this is yours, and I was like, no, it's mine. And I'm like, what on something funny? And then I showed her the ice cream, which was the same flavor, and she said, pretty fucking cool, and she was cute. I guess I could have taken her number, but again, Inky froze more frosty than an ice cream. They were doing a kind of like a special ice cream discovery. It's an ice cream I did multiple times in the past. So why are we doing it again? It's actually quite simple. The reason why we're doing it again, my apologies, is because first of all it was delicious. Second of all, it's one of those flavors that is extremely bland. See, when I think about my favorite Ben and Jerry, I'm thinking about Bake, I'm thinking about cookie dough, right? Those are my all-time favorites for a couple of reasons. The first reason is they're classic. The first reason is they're the first one that I had, right? They have a meaning to me. They have an emotional feeling to it, which is weird. It's ice cream. And then we go and get deeper. We go with Netflix and chill, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then we have some specific one, like ice cream sandwich. And then the idea also came from GMM. They were doing a what should I call it? They were doing it's tough. They were doing a Ben and Jerry flavor, yes, and it was something that they weren't in any category. And I found out like ice cream sandwich was neither one of those that I really enjoyed, neither one of those that I really didn't like Cherry Garcia. So it's like it's just in between. And with the half baked with the cookies and cookie dough, I was stuck with thinking, you know what? These are good. These are kind of like OGs because they're very simple. Ice cream sandwich isn't simple. It's a copy on Oreo. However, there's a couple of cool things because then a lot of people does cookie dough, right? But Ben and Jerry is one of the only one that does half bakes. Now, ice cream sandwich, since everybody does it, you would think that it would be a category. I think that because everybody does it, everybody does it. I think it's a category and it's on its own. It does a category of its own. And you have to taste it. Something magical will happen. I know. How good. I can dance it. I know how good Oreo is. I know how good Chapman is. Right? But then, it's a battle of who's the best. And who's good? So, a little recap. but that's not clear. Ice cream sandwich is a special ice cream sandwich. It's a special ice cream, which is worth tasting and retasting and retasting and retasting because of a couple of things. It's different than anything else. First of all, second of all, it's something that everybody does. So there's a competition, and it's about a question of who we prefer. And lastly, it's one of those flavors that never gets old, and that's why we love it. See, cookie and cream. I can find it sometimes boring. Netflix and chill. Sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like having a salty ice cream. I'm just sponsored by my lovely neighbor downstairs. However, I don't like the movie, so we're gonna be talking. We're gonna be talking about the day. Why yesterday was such a hard day. So as you guys know, yesterday we did some demo, which is very different than what we're doing. Today we're having a treat. We're having ice cream. We're having Baja Blast because we worked so hard yesterday. So this is a little bit of a reward, right? Why was today so hard yesterday? Because for a lot of you guys, if you see the video, you thought that I was chilling a lot. Well, here's why it was hard. And I talked about how nice it was this morning, right? And it was nice. She heard me. She offended. What's your fucking TV too loud? See, it wasn't an amazing time, but at the same time, in insight, it wasn't the best of days. I feel like I didn't really earn. It's so nuts because I feel like I didn't really earn a paycheck because I could have done more. Now, the done more is a contingency of how much work there was. So, we were supposed to finish the job yesterday, right? We were supposed to finish the job yesterday, and the guy, he's a friend of the family, he's a super nice guy, but he has some bills to pay. I think he had a budget to only hire me yesterday, or to do a small day yesterday and do a small day today, and then I'm there for 2 days because you're in a company, you have your profit, and one of the things that is the most expensive is your labor costs. It is super expensive because you got insurance, you got people, you got retreat, you got bonuses, you got paycheck, you got overtime, a lot. Most of the stores, and that's the craziest thing, most of the stores, when they're gonna have a financial problem, the first thing they're gonna do is they're gonna cut people hours. So, instead of having a very full day yesterday, it was a kind of nuts day, but at the same time it was really nice. It was mad that the container didn't come. So we're supposed to have a container to put the garbage there, which is normal demo work. Because we didn't have the container, his friend left, which got him, he was annoyed by that because his friend's like, are you there to help or are you there to do your thing and then leave, At least wait a little bit until the container comes, right? I think it was annoyed by that, and then it was annoyed at the container, so it was kind of like what you call it, a very touchy subject because he was nice, but I can tell he was annoying, so you don't want to push it, right? And then I felt bad about not getting being paid for doing nothing or next to nothing because the job, like I said, it was to take out the towel of the floor. Since he was a bit annoyed, he wanted to do it himself. He wanted to hit with the hammer himself, which is totally understandable. I mean, at the very end, it's totally okay. But I felt like, and then what we did was, first of all, it was very fucking warm. And what we did was we had 4 flights of stairs. And imagine you take down buckets full of garbage, So it was tough. It was tough because you were for a moment not working to a lot of work. And plus I'm overweighted, so even then I can walk upstairs normally, but with buckets it's a bit harder. But then my legs were shot up. It was bad. And you feel bad about it because he's so nice. Like I said this morning, the guy isn't really close to me because I know him for 15 years. And I know his kids. I'm friends with both his kids. So we have this emotional engagement, right? And I feel bad for him. What if there was a boss not. How can I say that? I didn't sound like an asshole. If it was a huge company, I wouldn't have minded as much. Now, the reason as to why is because big company will have a budget for lawsuits. They'll have a budget every single month for, hey, if shit hits the fan, we're covered. Right? He's a small guy. And I felt bad about that. And I said, like I said yesterday, I didn't drive, so I couldn't leave without him, you know? And it was kind of far. It was 50 minutes. Then he came and picked me up, which was super nice. And then brought me back. We live somewhat close to each other, so it's easier. But imagine if he has to bring me back half the day and just spend 3 hours and a half on the road, you know? So yeah, so, and then I'm like, hey, we're done with the floor. We will finish the floor. And then his answer was, I want to be finished with the Jeep rock also. I want to cut down the walls. So his plan was to leave the beam in on the walls. Cut down the walls is the easiest part. Because basically what you're doing is you're putting down the walls and then you're putting them in a container. Compared to taking down or heading down the wall, which is cream with literal Oreos inside. It's harder. I'm finished. He didn't do the job with his friends. He didn't do the job with his friends. His friend is an electrician. But now, you know, he's behind, right? So it's pissed, but at the same time, you know, I gotta check. And that's what relax. I talk a lot. It's physically wrong. And then that's a normal thing. So in the morning, we were at the 4th floor, and it was something humid, very humid. Because what happened was, before a lot of rain, you know. But all in all, it was a great day. It was an amazing day. It was hard, and then the lack of job. It is something that happens a lot. It happened at the flower shop. You guys remember from Mother's Day? You guys remember? It's something that happened. It's because they're kind of women. You want to help because you're getting paid for that, right? You're getting paid to work, not to sit around. So I feel nervous. Holy shit. I feel bad because I feel like I didn't get advantage of the situation. And then you also feel bad because like you get advantage of the situation. You really feel bad because you have work. So the first thing you do is you feel bad. The second thing you do is you're guilty. You feel guilty. So you go and you ask, can I help you? Right? And just like the flower shop. And we're back. Part 2 of why I said it was so hard on the 50 July 35. Don't like your waiting. Guys, my phone overheated. So sadly, I think it's gonna happen a lot with the two phones, which is okay, it happens. But it's gonna be harder to make video because it's so warm. Tomorrow it's even warmer. So, like I was saying, give me a sec. That's good, that's good. We're gonna be posting clips in the between. And we're deleting the videos. That's great. So, like I was saying, this is the same thing as a flower shop. Now, the reason as to why we did this at a flower shop was because I felt bad. And the girl, the woman that was hiring me was like, hey, I told you that there's nothing to do. Like, don't you trust me? And I'm like, yeah, but I feel bad. I said, don't feel bad because I'm telling you. But at the same time, I get nervous when there's nothing to do because I feel like I'm taking advantage. I feel nervous. So a great way for people like me, I'm not gonna say with ADHD, but I love my dad. I love him. But when he's feeling distressed about something, and it's such a shame because, and this, I know this has nothing to do with the video, but at the same time, the guy and my fathers are really close. The guy that I was working for yesterday, they're really close. They're almost the same age. There's a couple of years difference. His oldest son is my age. You know, they both have been ashamed. They have nothing in common. So, my father, we had a couple of months where it was really nice. It was really, really nice. And then, like I said, I lost my job. And since I told him that, he's on my case. He'll be passive aggressive. You know, it sucks. For example, yesterday he's like, oh, you need a job where you don't think. And realistically speaking, I agree. So the job that I had was automatic. The 8 year job was automatic. It was, look at a piece. Is there something that's broken? Okay, it's broken. If it's not broken, you can put it in the machine. You have an order, so you know that you have 220, you know that per box is 30 pieces. Example. So you know that's about 20 to 20. It's about 7.3 boxes. So 7 boxes and a third of a box. So you had some mathematics, but apart from that, there was nothing. And yes, it was a job that was fun, but it was just a bit fun because you didn't have to think. And you don't want to think the whole day. You want to have some sort of a mental freedom, right? So you can physically be stuck in a place. You can physically, this is important too. Listen to this is important. You can physically be stuck in a place, in a workplace, for hours upon hours upon hours, right? But as long as you're mentally there, you're good. This morning we were talking about, I'm going to do a sort of leap over here. But yeah, I do mean it. Oh, today we can buy a module. Yeah, we're doing a stream of just module, which is nice. Because we have a mission for that on the tower, so that's going to be super cool. It was a bit of a shame because he's going to write. You don't want to be stuck mentally. We talked about Fight Club this morning. See? ADHD. Well, we did have a Mountain Dew, which because of caffeine, and we have some ice cream, so my level of energy is through the roof. But at the same time, it was just nice. It was just nice because we talked about Fight Club. And it's about a dude. You guys know the story about Fight Club. It's about a dude who has a mental issue. He has insomnia, right? Because he has insomnia, he's never to sleep. So with his job, it's just a constant routine. He's constantly doing the same thing. And even if he lacks some sleep, he still do that. So he has this mental freedom, which is why he creates all these plans because he's thinking about it. He's thinking as it mentally. If you give me a job which I can focus, I have to focus 8 hours, I might not be able to do it, right? I might not be able to do it. I might be able to focus an hour and a half at a time, but then I'll need something, right? And again, you gotta give me a job. In this, I'm implementing ADHD, which is sort of an excuse, but not really. You're gonna have a job where you're gonna do the same thing the whole day, unless you get bored, right? So you're gonna do different pieces, which is why the last job that I had was perfect because you had different pieces. The context was the same, the idea behind it was the same. But it was completely different. You know what I mean? Yes, it was a bit of a mess. It was a bit of a mess. But then, even if he's right, you don't tell your son you need a job where you don't think. Because that's just rude. That's just rude. And I'm big on intent, right? I'm big on intent. But then you're like, okay, well, you didn't mean to be a dick, but you've been a dick the whole day. So there's a part of you that wants to be a dick. You know? And then my father's honest. Did the guy have these thoughts about me yesterday? He called me fat, but he didn't judge me for it. He's like, yo. He's like, oh, you need to lose some weight. You need to lose some weight. This is why we're eating ice cream today. Because fuck you. I'm gonna do what I want, you know? Yeah, he was like, yeah, you need to lose some weight. And I agree with that, but do I need to lose some weight? Absolutely, yes. Because the planning, well, you saw me train. So you know that's true. The thing is based on everything. So when I'm eating junk food like today, you guys are seeing it. When I'm working out, you guys are seeing it. Right? Now, the reality with it is, and my brother's the same way. I'll mention 2, 3, 4, 5 times the same day. And the first time, okay, this is your opinion, I respect it. The second time, I'm like, yeah, I know. Third time, I'm like, okay, well, I understand that this affects you because you want the best for me. But I understand. The 4th and 5th time, you kind of not get mad, but it gets nonsensical. I'm like, I'm right here. What am I supposed to do? You want me to go home to run for 100 kilometers, lose 10 pounds tomorrow? It's not possible. So you're shifting over a thing that, first of all, it's not your business. If I'm fat, that's my business. Second of all, you're stressing over something that has no consequences on your life. There's a plane that crashed in the country, which is super sad. But then at the same time, it could have been a plane that you were in that crashed. The fact that you weren't in that plane is in itself is a blessing. You guys all saw the movie Final Destination. A pin drop can kill you. A pin drop. Should you be afraid of a pin drop? No. Should you be aware that a pin drop can kill you? Yes. When you saw that somebody got killed by this same pin drop, your first thought is that's super shameful. Your second thought was like, wow, how precious life is, right? This is no instance of your life. This is, I'm a plane crash in another country. It has nothing to do with you, first of all. Second of all, it's nuts because you're expecting me to do something, and then you're like, holy shit, you don't want to do it. So for example, the guy yesterday, he was like, what are you actually doing for working out? And I told him the truth. I said, listen, the hard part with losing weight is I'll be super good for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll have great results. But then I'll have a moment of distraction, a moment where I'll have a nice meal, and then I'll have a second nice meal. It's consistency that's hard. It's not hard work that's hard. It's consistency. It's being consistent. But the way that I have to lose, I would have to be consistent for 1 year, 2 years possibly. That's really hard to do, you know. And then that morning, he was like, hey, because I brought my lunch, and I don't eat a lot during dinner because I was like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm gonna be here. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full day because we didn't talk about it. So then I was like, I'm gonna eat breakfast. For breakfast we had sausage, 2 bread, and some mayonnaise. When I came in, we had some marine that I already ate. And he was like, you don't eat a lot. And then that's where you see that he's a nice guy. I said, that's why you don't eat a lot. And this is, and how similar it is to my father. It's kind of crazy. I think about my father a lot. We have this good relationship, but when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. So he's like, oh, you don't eat a lot. Is it because I told you that you were fat? He asked me, did it make you self-conscious? Which is a super nice thing to say. Super nice because he's like, okay, well, that wasn't the goal, and if it is, if I did, I'm sorry. That wasn't the goal at all. And I'm like, no, don't worry, I ate the breakfast. And then he says, let me guess, junk food. And I'm like, what? And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's not. You were just next a couple seconds ago. What just happened? So then, in my brain, I'm still defiant. I'm still like, again, it's not something that's your problem. It's my problem. So as a fuck you, I said, yes, I ate 4 Pop-Tarts. And then he reacted. And I told him, listen, I'm joking. I didn't eat 4 Pop-Tarts. It's like, yeah, now you feel guilty because you told me. But if I didn't say something, if I didn't make you feel guilty, you'd still have ate 4 Pop-Tarts. I'm not joking. There was this guy that made a comment last week, right? And this guy, me and him, we talk, we've been talking for a year. Not every single day, but still. He writes me comments in English, right? And he wrote me a comment in English. And I come in, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to speak English. Like, I know my comments in English. Like, I know my comments in English. But let me tell you, I don't give a fuck. If you want to speak in French, you're allowed to speak in French, right? So as a joke, I do a French accent. And then he made in the comments like, yo, this was not funny, this was offensive. These people have expectation of you, but they're inconsequential to your life. The person, although he's been at the family, he is right in being worried about me. Of course, that's a nice thing to do. And then even yesterday, it was super nice. It was like, hey, Mon Petit Lou is like, hey, son. Mon Petit Lou is my little wolf, which is an endearing term, right? I think it seems me kind of as a nephew or something like that. So he's right, but ultimately speaking, he isn't there. He isn't there. If I was to make an effort to change my life around, he's not going to be there. I'm not also expecting him to be there, right? The person that asked me, why did you take an French accent? It was offensive. Bro, it's a joke, okay, first of all. Second of all, this is my content. It's not like you're there every single day. And it's not like you're there every single day and I owe you something. And yes, it's a bad thing because you shouldn't see people as 2 options. They're more than just that. But it's something that happens. I think there's a natural selection that happens for everybody. I think there's a natural selection that happens for your friends. Are we close friends? Are we super, like, we're just normal friends? Like me and Chow, like, there's a reason why we're still friends, because I knew right away that he's a great guy. When it came to him, I was really, not careful, but I was really cautious about not being a total dick. You know? We all have bad days. We all have bad days where we're not ourselves. We all have bad days where we might say something that's not cool. But then, even on a bad day, be able to say like, oh man, I fucking like this guy, so I'm gonna be careful not to say something, even though I'm in a pissy mood, even though in a bad mood, even though I want to fucking burn the world. I want to be nice to this guy because he deserves it. He's a nice guy, you know? But all in all, and it's again, it's a factor of comments, and those comments are little digs. So for example, my father yesterday. Now, I'll be completely honest. When I came to his house, I was tired. Doesn't help. I have less patience when I'm tired. But I went to my father's house yesterday, and this, I'm gonna sound like such an asshole. And I am apologizing in advance. I am apologizing in advance. That's what I'm gonna say. Today, my father had his operation. You guys know how worried I was. 2 days ago, I filmed a video, and the video was like, I just want to be a good son. I just want to be a good son. Because my parents are getting older and I want to help them. But then, my father had this operation thing, but he treated me like such garbage yesterday. That was like, I kind of don't want to hear about it. I kind of don't want to hear about you today. You had an operation, I'm sorry, but I don't feel like talking to you today because you were such an asshole yesterday. Which is totally an asshole move because it's so important to him. But this is also like a breakup, right? He had this girlfriend, and you guys are really close. And then she has this recital, right? And then she has this concert, right? And then before the concert, she breaks up. And she hurts your feelings, she breaks her heart. And then she has this concert, and you know how much this means to the girl. Do you go to the concert or you don't go? This is it. My father, a second I came in, again, I'm talking to him, and he's like, I have to pee. Now, when I came to my father's house yesterday, it was for two reasons. First of all, we finished earlier. Second of all, this is actually a really complex story, but you guys, I have three things. So we have the keys, and I also have an alpha comment. So the keys, we lose them. So what we do, the phone is super important. So what we do is we bring the phone, and I got a system where you can call the phone. So yesterday, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna be far. If I forget the key or I lose the key there, I don't have a way to get back there. So I brought the phone because I knew the phone was gonna be on me. However, because there was not a lot of work, I'm like, I need batteries to be home. I need batteries. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta piss. It's like, okay, well, go upstairs because your shoes are dirty. So that I have to charge the phone. I said, no, go upstairs. Your shoes are dirty. Dude, my shoes are dirty. I can take off my shoes. Hello? Hello? But again, you know, it's his house, it's his rules and everything. So I went to pee upstairs and then I went downstairs to plug my phone. The same thing. And then I would go out because I'm like, and ask him what was he doing? Because again, I worked hard that day, he worked hard that day. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna ask him how it went. He's telling me about what he's doing, and then I see that he has a fan, right? And his fan is actually pretty cool because it can fold. So when you fold it, you don't have a fan, it takes less space. When you unfold it, you have a fan, right? It was pretty cool. So I asked him about that. And I said, oh, it's a foldable fan. And he said, no, you can open it and then it'll become a fan. It's the same thing, dude. But then again, he was in a bad mood. I understand, I respect that. Then we leave the apartment on the top from the second level because he has to do this. And he said, did you close the door? I said, no, I didn't touch it. He said, I told you not to close the door. He go upstairs, see that I didn't touch the door. Then he said, oh, what did the guy say about you? And I'm like, what do you think he's gonna say? And in fact, funny thing is, I have this cousin, right? And he has a lot of self-confidence issues. And he's a good guy, but he has self-confidence issues because it's a complex story. There are three kids. There's three kids. The first one is very emotional. But she's making an effort. Now she's a stepmom, and she's really good. She's really fucking good. And she made a lot of progress. I applaud her. I really am impressed with how much of an effort she makes. And how much of a, she used to be, we would go there once every 2 weeks, and she would storm out twice, 3 times at night. It was a fucking mess. So, then I have my second cousin, which we're close in age, so we're closer. He's May 1993. No, May 1992. I'm January 22, January 1993. 8 month difference. And then I have my third cousin, which is the one with a lot of self-confidence issues. And because, why did he get bullied as a kid? Because he was a darling baby. It's always about, that's a complex story. This is a fucking long story, but long story short, there's this thing. I'm not gonna say is everybody the same, but a lot of people say the second child is a forgotten one. Like the oldest child is the firstborn, is the last child. They're the two that get the most attention. Everything in the middle is a little bit less attention, right? So he comes in and all of the attention is on the youngest, which is my cousin. Now, the first cousin, she doesn't give a fuck because she's rebellious. She's like, Gets her asshole. I want to be in this family. I want to leave. She's temperamental. She's emotional. Doesn't care. The third kid who didn't ask his parents to love him more, getting bullied by the middle child because he wants the attention. Right? And then, as a kid, I have to say I was a bully too. I was a bully too. Because my favorite cousin was, when I was close to me in age, very, very favorite cousin. He was a gamer, I was a gamer, we were closer in age. It's the same music. So when we get into a fight with his younger brother, I would get into the fight. And he's like, yo, you don't touch him. That's my bro. You're nothing to me, you're a cousin. He's my bro. So we get into the bullying. Now, at the same time, did I do some bullying? No. Was I there every single day? No. But I was still a shitty cousin. Yes. So because of that, he became very baby, very cherished. So on one side he was protected, he was able by the mom, which is my aunt. On the other side he was very self-conscious because of the bullying. You know? So yeah, so this is bad. So then what ended up happening was he had a lot of self issues. So out of the three cousins, my oldest cousin, the middle, and the child, the first one to leave the house was the child, because he was the most stable. Got a good job. We went to an apartment, right? Which was kind of crazy, but when he left the house, he was like, well, I don't like you two, because first of all, you're emotional. Second of all, you're emotional, you bully me. And the father was getting mad at the kid because the mom was protecting him a lot. So the father was like, and then my cousin, he never brought a girl home. And I can understand that. Did I bring girls home? Absolutely. Or a couple of girls home. But Henny didn't, because it was like, if I like the girl, no way I'm bringing her here. I don't like it here. I don't feel safe here. I'm not going to bring somebody that I love. So my uncle asked me for his game. Full on Christmas dinner, imagine. By the way, my youngest cousin was born when? 26th of December. It's your birthday and 4 hours, and your father asked you, are you gay? Then my father, he told me that, and he was like, oh my god, your uncle is so bad. That's so fucking bad because he said that. But then, with yesterday, he did the same thing, and it's not the first time. For the first time, he said, oh, you gained some weight, you're fat. And every time I see him, oh, you need to lose some weight. Dude, you never had to lose some weight. But congratulations, you got some discipline. Congratulations. You don't know how hard it is. You don't know how hard it is. And this is something I'm gonna say that is not nice to say. My stepmom, when they met, she was overweight. Not as much as me. She was a bit overweight. I'm 50, 60 pounds overweight. She was 15, 20 pounds overweight. And my father was very secure about that. If somebody looked at them, he was like, oh my god, you look at my girlfriend, you look at my wife. Not my girlfriend. Because she's overweight. And I'm like, imagine if somebody said the thing that you're saying to me to her, you would have fucking freaked out. You would have fight. You would have fought. And I'm supposed to take it like a bitch and say nothing. You know? Yeah, it's hard. Because then I get angry. And we talked about this before. I get angry, but then I have to justify why I'm angry. That's the thing. I'm seen as a nice guy, which I try to be. I'm seen as a nice guy. So when I'm not nice, I have to justify myself. The person that's an asshole every single day doesn't have to justify himself. So I get angry. Like, oh my god, you reacted. Or for example, I asked him, Dad, listen, because, okay, this is complex also. With the last thing, you know? The last thing. And this is going to be a very touching video, hopefully. I had my bike delivered. You guys saw the video, we fixed it. And my plan was to go home with the bike. The original plan was to go home and I finished the job, but my phone was dead. Why? Because I didn't work that much. Because it didn't work that much, I was on my phone a lot. I didn't bring in second batteries, I didn't bring my keys. But just didn't think I was going to work. My phone was dead. Like I'm gonna charge my phone a little bit, with my bike in and out. But then because I had to change my shoes because I couldn't go down before I wiped myself because I had dust, which is normal. I couldn't go down, so this took me longer to charge, right? Which is normal. The phone. And then on Sunday, which is before yesterday, it was raining a lot. It was raining a shit ton. And it was raining a shit ton. And give me a lift. And then the lift himself, at first, this is stupid. I'll never understand that. When I go to my father's house, it's 15 minutes walking, right? When he has to go to my place, it's 3-4 minutes from my car. 3-4 minutes outside. Oh. We had freaking fireworks. I don't know if this camera pick it up. I think it did. That's why they're screaming. They're having a party on a Tuesday afternoon. Oh yeah. Well, Tuesday night. Tuesday night, not Tuesday. Tuesday. So he's always having a problem with going to my house. Always having a problem too. I can walk 45 minutes, but he's not gonna walk. He's not gonna drive for 4 minutes. This was the cause of a lot of problem when I first came to the apartment. Was the cause of a lot of problem. You never want to come to the apartment because I'm comfortable at home. I don't like to go out. Okay, I understand that. That's okay. You're not comfortable outside. Completely fine. But you can't ask always people to come to my place. There's this could be an enthusiasm episode about that. We have meetings, so it's Larry David who has meeting with George Alexander, and George Alexander's like, "Yo, let's use my office." That's like Larry's like, "Oh, well, it's a bit far for me." It's like, "No, let's use my office." So he's like, "Okay, no problem." And then what he does, and then he's like, "Yo, we'll do your office before. Let's go to my office." Right? That's what it was, which is funny. Cool. So then, to come back to the subject at hand, it was kind of nuts because I was looking by the mosquito. He never would come to my house, and I'm like, "Dad, it's 5 minutes of your life, right? I'm in fucking pain." And I told him. So the day after, I was supposed to have my bike. The original plan was to leave, get my things, and then leave, do the bicycle, take care of it at home. If you fix it, we fix it together, we build it together, we're done. So then what ended up happening was like the bike wasn't good. So like, "Dad, can you give me a list?" It's like, "Okay, no problem." The next day I have a hard day. What I'm not saying is, and this is embarrassing, but with the overweight, yesterday, at the end of the day, at like 2 o'clock, we finished at 2:30. I had to walk the stairs on 4 hands. So my normal legs and my hands on top of a couple of stairs so that way I can support my weight because my legs are done. And then he opens the door and I have to stand up straight because I don't want him to think that I'm tired, or I don't want him to think that I'm not capable of working. Because I want to work for him again, of course. Right? So then, it's nuts. Because